my father in those sort of ways hasn't been very smart or very good at handling those situations or trying to read what's happening inside the court. So that's really poor performance, and it's not the first time he has done that. So.
Well, it happened. Tsitsipas has sacked his father coach again. Is this a good thing? Well, he's done it before and it lasted only a hot second. Tsitsipas has been a mainstayer in the top 10 now for 5 years. He's won big titles, beaten the best, and is a problem matchup for almost anyone. But the one major accolade has eluded him, winning a Grand Slam. And although he has been close, I mean really close, I think his window of opportunity might very well be shut already. Stefanos is as talented as there is on tour. He wields a versatile one-hand backhand, a dying breed, but it is his serve and forehand that are his real weapons, able to play aggressively and dictate a lot of points with his powerful serve and weight of shot. When he is in full flight, he can beat any player. That forehand is no joke. He's been as high as the third best player. These weapons have taken him to 2 Grand Slam finals, one at the AO, one at the French. He lost both those finals to the best player on the planet, but at the French final he had a 2-set lead. That's how close he's been. He's made 4 semi-finals at the same slams. He is a serious contender. Even outside the slams, Stefanos has been consistent, racking up 3 ATP Masters 1000 titles. So what's the problem actually? It sounds like he's very close to winning a slam, and he's only 26 years old. Well, no, not exactly. His last 6 appearances at Grand Slams, his best result has been a quarter-final. His performances have regressed. And in his latest post-match commentary, he looks lost when it comes to beating the top players.
When I play against him, I get reminded of how much there is to get better at as a tennis player.
Okay, so Steph has some problems beating Carlitos, but honestly, so does the whole world. He could still have a favourable draw and avoid him. Or perhaps Carlitos might have a bad day. A really bad day.
Look at this, the ferocity.
But outside
The
of Carlos, the stats are not favourable for Stefanos. Out of all the Grand Slam winners in the past 5 years, Steph simply does not cut the mustard when it comes to return points won. He is 3% to 4% worse against first serves. For second serves, the 4 champs sit above 50% win percentage, and Steph is slightly below that. These 2 stats contribute to his overall return games won, which sits significantly below the rest at 21.1%, where Medvedev and Sinner are over 27%, and Novak and Carlos at 31%. These are career stats we are talking about, so there is a huge sample here. Stefanos' return game is a problem, and as majestic his forehand is, his one-hand backhand is a weakness. And look, his backhand is not bad by any stretch, it's a world-class backhand. I mean, Federer's one-handed backhand was the best of all time. But in reality, one-handed backhands have their limitations. And for Tsitsipas, the biggest weakness lies in his backhand return shot. Bear in mind I am only talking about winning a Grand Slam. His numbers are not bad at all. I'm comparing him to champions here. So take that with a grain of salt. Outside of the stats, there has also been a few times Stefanos has cracked under pressure.
Now the crowd are on their feet. A moment of inspiration from Tsitsipas.
Tsitsipas is no saint in the way he behaves on and off the court. His most notable unsportsmanlike action was taking a long toilet break against Andy Murray. Murray had some choice words to say about it.
You know, stopping for 7-8 minutes. But I have 0 time for that stuff at all, and I lost respect for him.
Needless to say, the ATP had to modify the rules regarding bathroom breaks after this incident. Against Nick Kyrgios at Wimbledon, the match turned into an entertaining circus with both players turning very sour. Stefanos hit shots into the crowd.
Hit a ball into the crowd and hit someone and not get defaulted.
He intentionally tried to hit Nick a couple of times, ending in an ice-cold handshake. In fact, he's made a bad habit out of trying to hit the ball directly at players, trying to take Alcaraz's head off too. And look, I know it's all part of the game and trying to win, but these shots only have the intention to draw blood. Outside of that, he has had some dubious post-match commentary after losses, especially when he deems his opponents unworthy. Talking down Andrei Rublev with this comment: "It's a shame. I feel like the better player. I felt like I could do more with the ball today. I felt like I could just be much more creative." I don't even have to say that. I think it's quite obvious. But yeah, he prevailed with the few tools that he has. He was able to really take advantage of them and win today. And also talking down Jenson Brooksby after losing closely. He's not explosive, but he's able to get balls back. He's not so athletic as well. He's just able to read the game well, play with his pace, play with the opponent's pace, and stay consistent. The amount of net chords he hit was able to bring into the other side of the court, that's for sure. I think that's an incredible skill. These behaviors really question Tsitsipas's maturity and mental fortitude. I personally think it's a mindset that holds him back. He's got all the talent, but often when things are not going his way, he finds excuses instead of focusing on improvement. I don't want to make Steph out as a bad guy. I'm simply pointing out some flaws when it comes to winning a Grand Slam. 95% of the time, Steph behaves well and is a role model for the sport. I think Stefanos does have a really fun and wild side, which he shares vividly through Twitter. He easily has the most entertaining tweets on tour, and he has some very interesting philosophy he likes to share. I'd highly recommend following. And while you're at it, please like and subscribe to my channel if you're enjoying the content. He even shares intimate moments with his on-off relationship with WTA star Paula Badosa. Tsitsipas is the couple's name. I don't think he's a bad guy at all. I just think when it comes to winning a Grand Slam, mentally when he's in the grind, there are still some question marks.
Yeah, it's constant bullying. That's what he does. He bullies his opponents. He was probably a bully at school himself.
Okay, so we have a good idea about Steph's opportunities to improve. But he has gotten to 2 finals and has been a consistent top 10 player for years now. Let's have a chat about what makes him great statistically. Stefanos has a great serve, both first and second. He leads the category in first serve win percentage, and his second serve win percentage is solid. Overall, he holds his serve 86.5% of the time, which is the highest among the top echelon. Of course, there are outliers like John Isner, but this is almost as good as it gets when it comes to serving and also having a decent return game. Once Steph picks his spot, he usually gets a pretty easy forehand to finish a point. This serve and forehand combo has been a consistent weapon in his career. I've rarely ever seen both these shots break down. His forehand is one of the best I've ever seen. It's really fine margins in tennis, especially at the top level. There are some pundits who have criticised Steph's service motion and stance as not optimal, but ultimately the stats are really favourable for Steph when it comes to holding serve. What tends to happen, and where Tsitsipas has faltered in Grand Slam matches, is simply not being able to apply much pressure when returning. It means he relies heavily on serving well and in close matches. His opponents often can take more risks and put a lot more pressure on his serve. He also gets himself in delicate positions against strong servers, where matches can often be decided by 1 or 2 points in a tiebreaker. Over time, luck can play a big factor in the result. The last reason I think holding Steph back is his coaching. And by no way am I alluding to Steph's father as a negative. This is the guy who has single-handedly coached his son for 20 years and took him to number 3 in the world. If anything, this is an astounding achievement. But what I'm getting at is the strain of that relationship, as well as what it may take for Tsitsipas to go up another level to win that elusive slam. We've seen it with other players changing their coaching staff and having remarkable success. The foundations are there, and often it's just having the right mindset and a bit of luck on a few tight points. Steph has made changes to his coaching team in the past, but ultimately his father is still in the background making calls and having inputs. There has not been a period of full change, a full changing of philosophy. We've seen it with Sinner recently. I go into a lot of detail in this video if you want to check it out. We know Novak made a significant change in his career coaching-wise to reach new heights. I think the writing is on the wall for Steph. This is undoubtedly an area that he will get meaningful advice on tactically in matches, but I also see it as less pressure. He often uses a lot of energy in matches with his father in the stands, which can't be healthy for the relationship off the court as well. I mean, we've all been there and had our parents watching us perform, whether it's tennis or anything else. There's just some added expectation and pressure you can't shake. Time is still on Steph's side for winning a Grand Slam, but ultimately, Novak is still going to be around for another few years. He has yet to figure out the new beast in town, Carlos Alcaraz, who is taking the world by storm, and the current world number 1. Jannik Sinner is a couple of years younger than him. Steph has the weapons and the talent to win a Grand Slam, there's no doubt about that. But personally, I think a change of mindset is what's needed, and hopefully the coaching change will be able to close the gaps in his return game and provide him with that mental edge in those big matches, which he will still be getting to. I'm hoping for Steph to get it together, but the window may be closing very quickly for a Grand Slam, and each year only increases his chances to being added to the infamous list of most talented, never to win one. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Comment if you think Stefanos will win a Grand Slam in his career.